Hello and welcome to the Academy of Worship podcast. I am Chris Davis.
I'm Lauren Levisor.
And we are excited because we have a super special personality in here with us today, as promised in the last podcast. His name is Carlos Torres. Torres.
That is not what you sound like.
And we've been, how long have we been promising you to be on the show?
I think since before the first episode.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where
I may have been a little overzealous.
But we're here now, and
Just knew where you were going. And, yeah, you had to build your platform to this moment.
So we're excited to have him in here, and we kind of have been bouncing around what ideas we're going to be talking about, and I think we settled on about 17, 18.
You can't handle the Carlos.
Right. We have agreed, though, that he is going to be a noun?
Yes.
A Carlos. We have a Carlos in this deal.
Hey, Carlos.
A Carlos. But anyway, so I'm just going to start asking you questions because I want you to describe you.
Great.
You be you, man. You do you. So can I guess, start from the top. Who are you and what do you do at church?
What is my contribution to the body of Christ?
That's right.
I play guitars and I make doobly-doos on the computer, and that pretty much sums that up. That is my contribution to the body of Christ.
Now, Lauren was describing you when I was talking to him as having a much farther-reaching skill set. So, but he was saying you're kind of a jack of all trades. I didn't even know you've been filling in on bass and.
Yeah. So the first time I was made aware of Carlos,
of a Carlos,
he was not yet, I guess, technically a member of the weekend team yet. He had been doing a lot of work on his own and honing his skills and everything. And then one day when I was at one of our satellite campuses, my wife had to be rushed to the hospital 5 minutes before service, and I was playing bass that day. And Carlos graciously stepped up and just played all of my stuff for me as I rushed.
How'd that make you feel? I mean...
Oh, that was awesome.
Sorry
that was
about your
saved
wife.
the day because
How did it make you feel knowing that you could be so easily replaced?
because
That's what I was going for.
No, honestly, it was a little weird in my head because even though this horrible thing was happening, there was still a major part of me that was going, but I'm supposed to play the service. Like this is something that I've said I would do, and now I'm gonna not be fulfilling what I
Does
told
Tori
someone
listen
I
to
would
this
do.
podcast?
No, she doesn't.
You're so much better churchman than I am. I've just been like, see you guys. I'm out of here.
Oh, come on. All musicians think that, right?
I guess.
Am I alone here?
Sure. No, yeah.
No? Okay.
Totally.
Yeah, I guess.
I have
gotta play the show.
I have a thing about, being where I say I'm going to be and doing the things I say I'm going to do. So there was a bit of that. So when you lifted that from me, I was like, oh, thank you. And then everybody told me you did a great job, and you kept doing it. You kept playing bass on multiple occasions and stuff. So that was my first. Oh.
Okay. So then, Carlos, what would you say is your main instrument?
My main instrument is guitar.
Okay.
But I keep getting more and more opportunities to play guitar.
I think every picture I've seen of you playing with the worship team, you're not playing guitar.
Yeah.
Or at least
it's sort of like it's sort of like in businesses or in church leadership, the better you are at doing something, the more opportunities you get not to do that thing.
Yeah. Well, and you keep showing yourself to be good at other stuff, so I'm sure people are like, ooh, we don't have the doobly-doop guy on the
And we
computer.
you need the doobly-doop guy.
That's right. I'm super stoked, by the way, anyone who's listening, because you're going to hear some doobly-doops here in a little bit. He's going to show us
so much doobling.
So much. Yeah, so let's back up even further then, because I'm curious.
Let's go to the beginning.
You're a fetus. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm
Mom
curious.
met my dad in the Air Force, and she tracked him down to his dorm room and gave him her number.
We've gone too far.
That's a real thing that happened?
That is a real thing.
Wow.
And here I am.
You have yes. No, though, I'm curious about kind of how you got into worship music to begin with. Did you grow up in church? Did you...
I did. I grew up in church. My family was Catholic until I was about 8. And then we went directly from Catholicism to the Father's house.
Oh, wow.
There's no middle ground
Don't
journey.
pass go.
Yeah, do not collect $200.
Wow.
Go straight to Father's house. And I'm not exactly sure how that even came about.
Really?
I don't know.
How,
I was 8.
Okay.
And then, we were no longer going to St. Mary's Catholic Church.
And now
we were going to
here.
the Father's house, which was
Interesting.
meeting at Browns Valley Elementary School at the time.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have history with
Yes.
the church. Right on. Okay. So then were you, well, I guess you were 8 years old. Were you already playing guitar at 8? Or?
No, I didn't start playing guitar until I was 13.
Oh, okay.
14, 13. Freshman, 8th grade, freshman year of high school, something like that.
So I got to ask, what are your influences then?
Let's see. What are they?
I asked too hard of a question. Backtrack.
I only listen to like contemporary Christian music, so
Right.
that's where
Totally right.
That's
right.
not true at all. I was listening in those years. I was listening to a lot of Coheed and Cambria,
Oh, okay.
and that was kind of the first like rock thing that I ever got into, which is maybe kind of an interesting like first foray into the rock world. But I heard a single of theirs, and I was like, "Who is this?" And then went from there.
Okay.
And so that was my primary influence for a long time, actually. Which is
All right. So would you say that their guitarists were your influence, or did you have other like specific guitar players that you really?
I really didn't. That was kind of it for a while.
Just those guys. That's it. Nice. A lot. That's kind of refreshing. You get a lot of the Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, and
Oh,
whatever.
no, I never even heard.
No, we get that because we're old.
That's
I
true.
never
But
heard
it's-
Vaughn or Hendrix until I was like well into my 20s, which I am only midway through now. So
Oh, he's a newbie with like the old school rock.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That was really condescending. I'm sorry.
that's fine.
So
I'm used to being condescended to.
I guess we're in good company, right? It's like right on.
Like the way that I started playing guitar is actually it's interesting to me. It might be mean to you guys. There was a guy that I didn't like very
like
much.
how it's
So I
mean.
grew up. There was a piano in the house, and I kind of figured out the key of C without
Okay.
knowing what that was because
Sure.
it's
All
all the
white
white keys.
keys.
Like, those notes all sound good together.
Right.
And then, there was a guy I didn't particularly care for, and he was playing the guitar, and I said to myself, well, if he can,
That's awesome.
surely I can figure this
I
out.
must be able to. That's cool. I mean, no, was this person on the worship team?
No, this
Okay,
was just
okay.
a guy that I knew.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like.
Are they still on the way?
Are they still someone that you play with regularly?
No, and
Now
me
he
and,
has a new someone.
and me
that
and
he's-
him are like decent friends now, so
That's
that
cool.
works out.
Have you told him that story?
I don't know.
All right.
Does he listen to this podcast?
I don't know.
Now he
He
will.
should.
Do you
That's a
guys
great
keep
reason, though.
are you guys or are you, Chris, one of the guys that like keeps like really
Data.
good track of analytics and stuff like that and traffic like
Oh, with the podcast? Yeah. I mean, the hosting provider we have only gives
So much
cursory
of-
stuff.
right.
It's not like.
it's like you have X amount of
Yeah, well, I don't know.
people.
It keeps climbing every week, so I don't know if it's getting shared or it's just like it's a skewed thing.
or like certain people are just listening to it over and over.
Yeah,
and
I'm
over.
assuming it probably keeps track of individual IP addresses. I don't
That
know.
would be the thing to do. The internet's been around for a while, so
It seems like a good rule.
Does
of
it
thumb.
matter that I'm playing it on everything that I can find every place I go?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Lauren, well, I was going to make the joke that speaking of that we have like half our audience in the studio with us today. So that's cool.
We're really just talking to ourselves.
That's right. I mean, we just started doing this because we basically were talking about this stuff anyway,
Yeah.
and arguing and being mad at the world anyway. So we figured, why not just roll tape? If anyone
let the
likes
rest
it,
of
they'll
the
listen
world
to it.
join in on the conversation.
Exactly. I mean, they were doing it on Facebook already. Why can't we do it on the radio?
It's true. So many things happen in Christian internet land.
So then, when was the first time that you got interested in playing music in church?
I think I was about 14 or 15, and there was a songwriting small group. It was a cell called the Cell Group still at the time.
Not
Before-
terrorist related.
Not
though.
terrorist
Yes.
Okay.
It
Not
has been
terrorist
changed since then.
Striking fear into the hearts of demons. And,
Right.
anyway, cut that. That sounded stupid.
I liked it.
Just cut this whole first bit.
First half hour.
And so I wrote a song in that people actually liked. And so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, but so yeah, before that I had just heard about that and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do that. It's not really like none of my forays into like the worship world have been like, I want to do that.
Right.
It's more been like,
I could.
oh
do
yeah, I could do that. Sure. Yeah, that'd be good. Like, okay, so like getting like on the team at Lauren and I's church, like that was an actual like active
Right.
goal, but it wasn't really like there was no like real urgency. There wasn't a real urgency behind it. It was just like
might as well.
not so flippant that it just might as well.
I guess,
but
they need me horribly. So
it was just like I can do that.
Yeah,
Like I know I can do that.
Well,
I know.
See, this is actually a great way to go about it. Instead of like not being ready and just keep trying out, keep getting rejected, make yourself the best that you could possibly be until they really need you and want you and go, can you please be on our team?
that's it.
There
Yep.
you go. That's
I
can't
made
think
myself so good that I'm inexpendable.
We're allowed to say that about
I'm
you.
indispensable. No, that was my
indispensable.
strategy the whole time.
right.
Be so good that you were indispensable.
So amazing. Have you heard that Carlos guy?
You heard that, Carl?
He's crazy. He wrote this awesome song
You can be a Carlos too.
in his terrorist cell group.
I'm a terrible guest.
I've had a lot of fun.
You guys are going to lose so many listeners.
hey, Star Wars is about terrorists. Come on.
Hey, what?
From
how
a
did we
different
just get him-
perspective.
All right. You had to go to Star Wars. Why'd you go to
That
Star
is true.
Yeah.
I want a Star Wars movie from like a random stormtrooper's perspective. Oh wait,
They should write that. Anyway. What are we talking about? Right. So I'm going to kind of jump to the part that I'm excited about and want to
Okay.
hear about. I mean, I want to hear about it all, but this is the part that is we have your computer hooked up to the system.
Right. Go for
so, and then being an audio guy and audio guys, I'm curious how you got into that aspect of it.
okay. So this jumps to about
So you're playing guitar,
16 or
yay.
17,
Right.
and I had access to an Apple computer,
Right.
or just like an iMac or whatever the iteration was, and it had GarageBand on it.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of how that started.
Okay.
And so I got my head around like the basics of, what GarageBand offers, which is a considerable amount. Like
Yeah.
whole decent sounding records have been made
Yep.
on GarageBand.
I've heard a couple of them, and you're like, garage what now? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And so, yeah, that is where that kind of started. I did maybe I can do some internet
do you have
searching
it?
and find it. But
Ooh, yeah.
like one of my first like projects, and I did that all in GarageBand and like just sang into the built-in mic and just made up lyrics, and all the programming is just like hodgepodge and
nice.
just totally weird.
But
and
see,
ridiculous.
in looking into some of the offerings, like GarageBand's a perfect example. I'm amazed at the stuff that you get in them now, like just out of the box.
Yeah.
And the amount of, which is good, because I mean, for someone who's creative, as opposed to just wanting to do straight up audio recording, like to just be able to pull up virtual instruments and like, now I have.
Yeah, it was great. Like you
Yeah.
have a preset or whatever that's like sort of in the ballpark, and then you
Right.
kind of tweak it from there, or you can like just bring up a preset and then sort of reverse engineer it. Like, oh, that's how that works.
Right.
So it's really helpful in that regard.
And I think it's cool that you started as like an enthusiast, someone who discovered on their own, and it wasn't like, I'm not to say that filling a need because you see a need is bad, but it doesn't sound like it was born out of like, oh, our church could really benefit from having some synthesized music in it or something, or like you wanted to go make an EDM record or something.
I hope you appreciate too, like the era that you grew up,
Yeah.
because when we first got into it, around the same age.
You're not doing it in the right voice. When we grew up.
No, seriously, we were about the same age when we got into it too. But Chris got his hands on a 4-track,
I wanna say, yeah, Tascam 4-track
like
cassette
tape,
thing.
yeah, cassette tape recording system.
Yeah.
That you could ping pong the tracks and
Yeah.
tape over and
Oh my
with
gosh, yeah.
other tracks and.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
it's funny
it
to
was-
listen
it was
back to
horrible,
those because
but,
they
like-
sound horrible. Like the
Yeah.
songs that I'm gonna play,
We thought it was
they're
amazing
not gonna go
technology.
through the interface. They're just gonna be picked up by the mic. That's fine.
Okay.
It's just like horrible. It's just like it is deciding not to play. That's fine. I don't care. It's not that.
But it was synth
important.
poppy, right?
It was synth poppy.
Got it.
All right.
Right on.
At that point, like the Postal Service, Play Radio Play, and Owl City were my primary influences as probably
Okay.
as far as like production arrangement and like sort of lyrical content are concerned. Like all the lyrics on the song that I would have showed you were just made up.
Right. That's very Owl City-y.
Yeah.
And it was funny you mentioned that because I in the things you played before we started recording, it kind of reminded me of Owl City stuff. Like I was like, oh, that's, or like that vein. No, in a good way.
No,
No, it's not supposed to anymore. I'm over that.
I'm done with that.
That was
part of
10
my
years
life.
ago, dude. Come on.
That's in my past.
That's right.
I like to deal with that privately.
So okay, so you're an enthusiast. You're learning all this stuff. You're getting it down, and then how long was it between that and just doing it for fun until you started doing it for like church stuff?
Which isn't fun.
Which is not fun.
Yeah, that's not fun anymore. When did it stop becoming fun and be a chore?
Church is entirely antithetical to fun.
You know what
No
I mean?
fun. Zero funds.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Let's see. What was the first time I did
Like-
programmed and produced anything for the church? I'm trying to think.
I get-
it was
I guess
quite
what
a
I'm
few
getting
years
at is
ago.
how was it discovered that you had this in you that you could do it and they could benefit from it and be like, oh, that'd be awesome.
I don't know when they decided that they could benefit from it.
How can we take advantage of Carlos? I'm just kidding. He's going fetal. Pick him up.
I don't know. Like I would just put stuff out. Like Facebook was a thing.
Okay.
And I'd be like, I did this thing. Listen to it if you feel like it.
Okay.
And
cool.
so at that point, and they knew that I played and wrote songs periodically,
Right.
and did stuff like that. And so that just sort of evolved as it has electronic elements and different production needs, or if they needed something for the back and
Right.
to back an announcement video or
Oh, okay.
something, or a sermon bumper or whatever. Like that happened a handful of times.
Yeah, I remember there was a particular morning that I was like, ooh, I really like that music. And you were sitting right next to me that day. You're like, yeah, that was me.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was like, oh.
Big
all
dramatic
That's
pause.
That's one of the places they get the music for the bumpers. Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I don't do that anymore. But they just went
don't.
other directions. I don't know.
Yeah.
They just, when they need stuff, I try to help them out if they give me money. And if
Now,
they
are
don't
you-
need stuff, that's fine.
Are you, I mean, you said at the beginning that you've kind of already not been playing as much guitar as you used to, but is it the kind of thing where you're playing a lot more electronic sides of the keys and whatnot?
No.
Okay.
Usually what I'm playing is either somewhat synth-based, but it's usually piano. Like I'll usually like latch a pad and just let it go.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Lauren
control a
mentioned that.
filter, and then like I have a little octave,
Right.
just a pitch up, just an octave up.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll just play actual piano parts because I just prefer that
Oh, okay.
method. I don't like playing pads
Right,
the whole
right.
time. There's nothing wrong with playing pads. Pads are awesome. I think pads are great.
They are great
I think,
when you're not playing them. Let's be honest.
well, I think most songs benefit more from having a piano actually being played
Right.
than like,
Right. Well, I hear tell that music used to entail musicianship.
right.
I heard that somewhere.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not a master piano player. I just understand the like system that I'm in. And
Right.
So,
Well, being in a worship team that once in a while has a piano player play as opposed to just like a pad root thing, I appreciate even the most rudimentary piano player adds a lot of texture to a song
Yeah.
that needs to be there. So I can appreciate that. I don't think you have to be virtuosic to be a piano player. So okay, when you're not playing piano stuff and you have to do, I'm interested in kind of the creation aspect of the things that you do, either for yourself or that ultimately make it into maybe a loop or a track or something you guys use in a church service. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that interests me too, because we've never really had this perspective of someone who creates it. I mean, I download them and use them if they're are out there, but I have never really created one. How is it possible to even take us through the steps or even the thinking behind it? Not so much that you're going to educate everyone to be able to do this in a few minutes, but like, where do you start if someone's interested in that, or even goes like, "Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing." Like, where would you start them?
I would say, hi. I would say,
Hello.
let's see. Like, in terms of like somebody wants to get in, or somebody's discovered, oh, like computer music is a thing.
Right.
Or like just,
would you discourage the use of something like GarageBand, or is that a good in?
no. If you already own a MacBook or
Right.
Mac Pro or iMac or whatever, and GarageBand is on there, just get in there.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the stuff is like under the hood and you can't get to it, but it'll at least give you
Right.
like some sort of framework for like, oh, cutoff is actually a low pass filter And when I bring it down, it doesn't let any highs come through. And when I bring it up, it lets everything come through. Like those sorts of things you can learn is like what animation is actually doing is like it's modulating the pitch slightly.
Oh, okay. See, that's all. I'd be lost in GarageBand.
And then it has like all the things that you normally use: EQs, compressors, reverbs.
Okay.
Super like basic in ways that they're almost not useful, but sometimes.
Like, do they present it in such a way? And you can tell I use GarageBand. I don't. Do they present it in such a way that's like big knob, turn big knob, make things go, or is it like?
No, it's usually just like if you're using a compressor, it'll have like, threshold, attack, release, maybe not even release,
right?
Output, but it doesn't like let you like see what your gain reduction is.
Oh, you just hear it.
You just hear it, and so you're having to like guess, which is maybe better.
Yeah,
but
using yours
ultimately,
yeah,
mixing with your ears and whatnot.
Yeah,
I've heard that's a good thing.
I hear that's good.
Some people pay more money for the ones that don't have the meters.
That's true.
To train their ears.
So we have little Joey who has a MacBook and he has GarageBand. Is there any way that you can even First, I guess, do you have GarageBand? But if not, that's fine. But can you demonstrate, like...
I have it, but I don't...
Yeah, well, if you're not using GarageBand, can you show us, like, a process you would go through to maybe even start creating in something like this?
Yeah, so, I mean, let's see. This will probably take forever to open.
I'm excited.
But...
Or even in Reason.
Reason's fine.
So let's go with Reason. Reason is the program that I think use and I'm most comfortable on.
It's important to probably say, too, that this process can be done in any... digital audio workstation, right? It's just you just happen to kind of have it pre-installed as GarageBand if you buy a Mac in most cases. Yeah. But with Carlos, he goes with Reason, which is another more in-depth version of the same thing. But the process should still be the same. Yeah,
the process is about the same. With the way I start is usually with some sort of usually it's with a beat.
Okay.
Honestly, or with some type of synth. Those are usually where I start.
Okay.
And so I will start with just I'm looking at basically what is a grid, has several lines, and then has like the bars of the song, so bar 1, bar 2, bar 3.
Right.
And it's divided by right now it's divided by 16ths. And so I just place MIDI notes.
Okay. So you're drawing in the MIDI, okay.
I draw in MIDI a lot. I sequence a lot of things. I don't play a ton of stuff.
Okay. And there's a lot of like YouTube stuff out there if you guys ever want to go look at the specifics.
Yeah, YouTube is an excellent resource for Reason, especially Propeller. So Propeller Heads is who makes Reason. They have a great channel. That's really helpful. Boy in a Band is really helpful. There's a few others that I can't really remember right now.
It's out there.
But
Google's your friend.
Information is out there. And it is easy to get to.
Carlos teaches you how to be cool. That's right. That's a good one.
It sounds like you need a channel out there is what you need.
I probably... No. I've done a couple little like snippets for like a dude on a group that was asking like, how do I do this? I'm like, this is how I did it.
Right.
Maybe that's helpful.
All right, so you have a drum loop that you get rocking. Now do you just loop that over and over and come up with something over it?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So a lot of my wife can attest to this. A lot of my music making process is listening to the same 6 seconds of music.
I know
over
the feel, yep.
and over and over, and eventually it becomes something.
Yeah, there you go. That just makes me happy.
Yeah.
So like you have a couple things going on. You have that pad.
Right.
Pads are useful. Mm-hmm. I don't hate on pads.
They work great when you're not playing them. Right.
You have that. And you have that. This is the thing that I got into recently, which is putting the actual sound in one ear and like just fully wet reverb the sound in the other ear.
So it's just reverb on one side.
Yeah. And
That's cool.
And
very Eddie Van Halen of you.
Is it? I don't know.
I'm telling you it is.
Okay, great. Thanks, Eddie.
This would be the lead part, right?
Yeah. So that all comes together. And there's obviously like
a bass. Yeah.
Which So you have like a side chain thingy.
Oh, cool. So you're side chaining.
Yeah, I'm side chaining. It might not even be an actual side chain. Maybe it is. or I might have just like
Oh, it was like a filter.
modulated the filter in such a way that it sounds like it's sidechained. I don't remember.
Yeah, and that's all stuff that gets pretty.
Yeah, it gets.
Yeah, but that's awesome.
And you can go way deeper than I do, and like a lot of the presets in Reason, in fact, do. Like I'm, like I just do. I like if I'm honest, I do like basic, like synthesis, like basic synth stuff production.
Right.
Like
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it all works really well. It works really well together.
Nice. So how long does it take you to, like, do you just start drawing, like, you know what key you're in, you just draw in like things and then start moving them around until you're happy with a lead part, or do you have something in your head?
I have a kind of an idea in my head when I start something. Like I had the hook part, if I can bring it up so the...
Okay. So that was like running through your head?
Yeah. Yeah. And then later on, that same synth, it does a completely different thing in the bridge, which is helpful. Which could easily be a guitar part.
Yeah.
Or another, which is maybe a thing that we could talk about. The evolution of synth and guitar together.
Now, do you do that? Because I know, do you ever add guitar over these type things, or do you like to keep them kind of in the electronic realm?
So until recently, since I really just use Reason, and I'm too lazy to. I'll be honest, I'm too lazy to set up mics and do it. So until recently, I hadn't really, and like rewire into a different DAW. It's just a pain. Well, it's not really a pain. If I just sat down and did it once, it would just be that way.
Does Reason can you record audio in Reason or no?
So since I was 4 versions behind on Reason until early or late last year. Early this year, late last year. So I just upgraded straight to Reason 8 from Reason 4.
Wow.
And so Reason has had
what program is
audio
this?
input.
Oh, okay.
Like audio inputs since like Reason 5 or 6.
Okay.
And so
you're just missing out on it.
Yes. I actually have some examples of
do it.
Like, so this is something that I'm working on for the kids album.
Oh, yes. By the way, the last one was phenomenal.
Okay.
Way to go.
That was mostly Jay. But
was it really?
This is funny because I actually haven't heard that album yet.
I've heard parts of it. Actually,
it's been out for a year.
I don't listen to our own stuff. I'm horrible.
You could probably get a free one.
I know.
Or just look it up on the Spotify. And if you don't use Spotify, you should.
I used to when I had a job.
No, but you have Google Music, don't you? Or do you do the free one?
I do. Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So one thing that I decided to do was a semi-vocoder type thing. So for the song "I Want to Hear You."
Okay.
Oh, neat.
Whoa.
I know.
Now, is that like a plug-in that you're using on a mic that you recorded, or how did you do that?
So I actually recorded this because I didn't have a mic handy.
Okay.
I recorded it just into I did. It was the
built-in one.
Built-in
nice
mic. And I was just like, I know that this is going to be way down, so I don't even really need to do.
Yeah, plus
bust out a mic for this.
Affected and stuff. It's not.
Yeah,
like
it's, so the point that it doesn't matter, and so this what it ends up being is.
Oh, okay.
And
wait, I'm really upset that you didn't use an $8,000 mic on that.
I'm sorry.
Now we're back to the podcast. That's how we should be talking. That's true. You're doing all this on far too cheap equipment, Carlos.
Oh, it's true. I don't know. I think I'm using a $2,000 computer and a $400 program. I think I'm all right.
I don't know.
The mic alone is $2,000.
That's true. I guess if we're
you try to replace it if it breaks.
That's true. Yeah, okay. I stand corrected. My bad. He's using extraordinarily expensive stuff.
Right? Exactly. For some reason, my favorite part of this song, even like apart from the stuff that I did to it, which I just really enjoy, is this little. I just like that. It's satisfying.
I appreciate the things that are just buried in the mix are the most important things to most. That's like me too. I'm like, dude, I did this. Like, there's this awesome guitar line happening, and you barely even hear it. And I'm like, it's there. Trust me.
That's
it's
actually
awesome.
The exact sound that my robot helper butler uses at home.
I've heard him.
Yeah.
Like you can't even hear this, but it's happening. And if you listen real close.
Nope.
I know it's there, though.
Yeah, you do.
That's what matters to me.
You see the track. It's making noise, I swear.
No, it really surprised me when I actually saw all of the multi-tracks from one of the Bethel songs.
Right.
That I thought, okay, it's the keys part, right?
Yeah.
So it'll probably have, like, you know, a couple of sounds on it, like we have programmed into our little workstation on stage. No, there was like 20 tracks. Yeah. I'm like, this is the keys player thing? That's what he's doing?
Which song was that?
I don't know.
One
of the Bethel songs
There's 3...
or something?
There are 3 piano parts happening on Fierce simultaneously in the chorus.
Wow.
See, and I think that I was going to get to that point was the layering. So I think when people hear a lot of music like this, the initial reaction, I think even just any music for that matter, but with the entry level being what it is, even though it could be a $2,000 computer, but even at that price point, everyone has computers, and a lot of them are Macs with a built-in program, and even you could get things like Reaper on a PC and even Mac, but
which is free.
Yeah,
it's free and it's great. It works really well.
It's phenomenal, and then
it continues working even after the 60 day.
They're like, you should pay for this, but you know what?
But you don't have to, or is it like how many days is it? 60 days.
Yeah, it's like
and
60.
then it's like
something like that.
You can just lie to them and tell them it's for educational purposes, and they're like $60.
Yeah, so
not that
although
you should
boys
do
and
that.
girls, you really should pay for things.
Yeah, Reaper. You know what though? The personal license, if you're making less than $10,000 using the software, is $60.
Right.
And then it's like $125 or something if you don't, or $225, which is still ridiculous. But the point is that there's stuff out there that you can get into at a reasonable price point, and then. There's lots of free. We were talking about these virtual instruments, like he's using all these synths and things. And there's, I've used a couple of them. I don't regularly use them, but they're free. You can go get them. They may not be on par with some of the ones you're using, but you can get like the 80s analog synth sounds out of them. And if you know how to use delay and reverb and stuff or whatever, you're golden.
If you know your way around a synth, like a free VSTs are great, depending on like what you get. It's not like the phrase "you get what you pay for" isn't really like a thing. It's sort of a thing, but
it's not as much as people make it out to be in the audio world. I think
it's not.
It really isn't. Like Waves makes great plugins, and not to say they have synths. They might or
they have a couple.
Do they? Okay, I don't know. I've only used their other stuff. Or like oh gosh, who's the big synth? The big one everyone uses.
You got your
Rudy.
Omnisphere,
guys, Omnisphere,
which we have at the church and we don't use.
See, that's crazy.
We just have it, and we used it on the kids' album.
But see, Omnisphere is
going to be
Lauren
next week.
wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's right. If you listen to it. So the point, though, I guess, is that you can get into this stuff at a really acceptable price level, and then the layering part, I think, is really important because a lot of people just hear the end result and think it's this huge like outpouring of one-time stuff that like at the end of it you're done, and it's not. It's like you hear a drum loop for 8 bars for 8 hours, and then you put a keyboard, like one little lead line on it and a pad and whatever, and it's important to realize that it's not this instant thing.
Like this song has roughly like 20 some odd tracks already,
right?
Yeah,
but if we only count like the drums as one thing, then it has 15.
Because you probably went through and you. For all intents and purposes, you added them separately, right? I mean, yeah.
It wasn't just a single loop that you pulled in,
right?
Yeah, so we got
that counts.
Yeah, each one of those is a separate track. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is a whole
that's my favorite.
Whole different world compared to your 3 or 4 piece garage band or something.
Right.
Which is trying to do a completely different thing.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Really. And I love I don't know, I'm digressing, but I love the combination
this whole
of the
episode
two.
is just one big
That's true.
digression.
Yeah. We're going to have to
I'm sorry. If you want to stick to an actual topic, I will try my darndest.
No. In fact, I knew going into this podcast episode that we were going to have just this breadth of discussion.
So, my point with that was, if you have your kind of traditional rock band or whatever, just drums, bass, guitar, singer, whatever, you can only go so many places with that.
True.
And the stuff you're messing with now, all this electronic stuff, you actually can take a song into a completely different place and have it make a different impact.
Right. And you have so much access to stuff you wouldn't normally have with like an analog instrument as far as you're not yeah, all of those sounds that he's pulling in right now would be almost impossible, if not impossible, for little Joey at home to just start making with microphones.
Yeah, well, I know as someone who does home recording, I love the fact that I can now go, you know what? I think this song needs Fender Rhodes.
Yeah.
I don't have an actual Fender Rhodes sitting in my garage just waiting to be played.
Which I've been meaning to talk to you about getting.
I know. I should just, blow some money on that. But
totally.
Or, if I need a cello. Or,
right.
All these things that we don't have sitting around, we have access to now. And we can layer them together and do all these things. So it's great.
I love it. It's my favorite. And now I have to do an album with Carlos. All right, done. We're there. Done. Okay.
So we have to finish the one you're working on.
That's true. I'll finish that one first. So we have little Joey. He gets his stuff. We're still going with little Joey. He's a very educated little guy.
He's a sweet kid.
Yeah.
He tries.
Yeah, it's your outreach. It's Carlos's outreach. He's training this kid. Yeah. So, so he starts pulling up virtual instruments. He starts messing around, layering stuff. Well, I guess once you get what you want, and then there's mixing and a whole other level of things to get that going. And honestly, I don't know if we want to go into that in this. Do you have any special tips for that? Like, once you have everything crafted the way you want it, what do you do with it? To me, it's like ABC and we're done. But
I usually I'm usually referencing some sort of like track that is musically adjacent to what I'm working on to try to figure out, okay, that would be a good, this is good placement. Like usually I'll get my,
musically
drums,
speaking.
Yeah. Musically, sonically.
Okay.
Mix wise. I'll get my drums where they are in some other song that sounds kind of like this one, like music or just as far as sonically, genre wise. And then from there, I kind of just balance everything as I go. So yeah,
that's a good trick. Do that in audio a lot. I do that in mastering more than I do in audio, I confess.
So we have like that, and then so in this song there are some synthy things that come on.
More synthy? Oh.
So you have to.
That's working for me, dude.
So this is
so good. Yeah.
So now, are you talking about you get the actual audio of the real drummer playing the physical drums to know where your electronic drums are going to accent that, or?
So what I do is I will take another song that already exists that has been mixed,
so you'll pull up
mastered.
Owl City.
I'll just pull up a song that if
matches.
I'm that kind of matches the mood of the song that I'm working on, and put everything sort of in similar places mix-wise, or try to get it about balanced the way that it sounds on that particular record, so that I can be at least pretty close as I go along. And then
that's actually a huge thing that a lot of audio guys do, is they'll use a pre-mixed song, try to get it there.
Yeah, reference tracks are pretty much lifesavers.
Now I'm gonna ask you this. This is for Chris's sake. I really am interested because I have a professional that knows what he's doing. When you're doing, those synth sounds you have are phenomenal. Like, they sound so good. I'm just sitting there going, no one talk for a little while. I'm soaking right now. Just shush. Is that? Do you take what is a square wave and just and then do you just apply reverb and delay, or do you have?
So it depends on the
I'd be interested in you taking me through I pull up this instrument and this is the goofy sound it makes, and then show me how you get to that.
I usually take just a raw wave. Maybe I'll get into it later, but right now I don't do a lot of taking a sample of something else and morphing it into something else. I don't do a whole lot of that. Unless it's particularly
But relevant. Do you pull up an analog synth virtual instrument?
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually something in that vein. And then the only thing I've really done where I'm taking an actual real instrument is I'm taking a CP80, filtering it down and applying reverb to it, and that is so.
That background synth, not the one that's making the actual lead line.
No,
not that one.
Not that one.
Just the pad underneath.
Oh. Yeah, that's just, hey, do what I say.
Listen to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. He just started making music, and you know how I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
that-
just,
So, like, if you stripped off the effects on that, what does it sound like?
okay, let's go there.
Yeah, I'm
do that.
I'm being that guy.
just-
I'm sorry. I'm diving deep in this. I'm
Yeah,
just really
no,
curious.
Do it. Go for it. Give me a second.
While he's setting
Let
that
me
up, so
find-
Yeah.
to finish my, so Kevin is one of our other keyboardists, and just to be fun or whatever, he hooked up his Wii controller and nunchuck
Yes.
What?
to his system and was manipulating the waves
What?
with the movements of that, because it has the
Yeah,
whole
X, Y,
like
whatever.
X, Y,
Yeah.
Z oscillation,
Wow.
everything, and then like your little like
twist it.
thumb pad and the twisting. He's like
What?
doing like filters and stuff with twisting, and
Oh my gosh! I have
he was
so much to
blowing
learn
my
from him.
mind. I'm like, I'm halfway following what you're saying right now, and it sounds amazing. But
I
yeah,
want.
so
want.
we'll have to check that out sometime.
All right.
That's a
Okay.
totally different.
Yeah,
How are we gonna fit all three of us plus Kevin in the room? Because he always has to be a co-host
yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's true. I'm lots of fun.
We have to build. We have to build a bigger studio.
Okay, so here is
Okay.
this with everything on, and then I will show you what it starts as. So that's everything, obviously.
Yeah. Which is
And
heavenly.
then we have...
Just pure heaven.
Thank you. Then we have what it starts as.
Okay. Oh, so you have two oscillators with one detuned or something?
I just have it, yeah, I have... So what I'm doing with this, what am I doing? I think I
Yeah,
have...
it's amazing.
That
to me.
already blows my mind that you take that and turn it into that.
Yeah. See, I know most of how he's doing it, but I want to hear what he's doing. Like,
Yeah.
I've done it, but not to this extent.
So like, what am I doing? I'm applying filtering and heavy reverb and that and some EQ. And that is
Really?
how that sound is born.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not brain science or rocket surgery. We're not curing cancer over here. Just making music sounds.
We're making the bleep bloops or whatever we call
Making the bleep loops. And then I later on have just a side chain. It filters up.
them. Yeah, I was going to ask. Sounds like that wanted to be filtered up.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Why you know
It's
do
not
what
behaving
say?
itself.
It's because
Why-
it's a Mac.
Oh, he went there.
It had to be
I
said
didn't even go
one
there.
time. That's
I didn't even go
Sorry.
there.
That's hurtful.
Why? You made him walk out, Lauren.
Take it back. Is this?
I don't even have a Mac. I have to have yours.
And then
I don't even get the
happening
line
it's
right.
around
not-
all
okay.
that is,
Right.
and then happening around all that is,
Are you triggering that off the kick?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I want so much more of this in my life. Most people don't know this about me. I'm like my favorite genre of music. Guess. I'm serious. It's my favorite genre.
80s synth pop.
No, not. I wouldn't go that far. It's a lot. If you looked at me, you would not choose this genre of music. And I told people before they're like, right? And I'm like, no, I swear, I love it.
K-pop.
It's trance.
Okay.
Trance. You do. Yeah, I love trance. Yeah, I mean, I don't usually get up and do the pacifier with it. No, I just love listening to it because of a lot of what you're doing as far as the tones and things. But just love it. So anyway,
I think
I'm
my
in heaven.
favorite part about this song, because this is one of the songs that's going to be on the kids' album,
Okay,
because
because you're doing
they
it.
put me in charge, and so I'm doing stuff. Anyway, so it goes straight from this sort of really big
Yeah.
anthemic type thing. Oh, I thought I said, "Hey Siri." Anyway,
Oh, did it answer? Yes.
yeah, it's tracking what I'm saying right now, and then it goes straight down to.
Nice. I love that. I love when pianos come in right there, like when it's big and it goes. Doom.
And that's how that song ends.
All right, so you heard it here, folks. You got to go out and buy the Father's House Kids album when it comes out next.
Oh,
and Lauren needs to go
do
get
we
the
name
one.
drop now? Is that a thing?
You
that we
already
do?
started with the name dropping at the beginning.
What did I say?
Rudy name dropped. You can name drop too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And they don't know which one it is. Oh yeah, they do. Dang it.
And then all the other episodes where it's just me and Chris, we pretend like we've never said it.
right. We just ignore the fact
Yeah.
that there's two episodes that have
It's sort of
extreme
like
information.
in
in it.
Bewitched when the husband the actor that played the husband changed.
Don't
and
mind him.
Nobody noticed.
It's exactly the same.
Doesn't Will Ferrell mention that in the Bewitched
Yes.
movie
Yes,
that we all
yes.
saw?
Yep.
And it's really sad that all three of us know that.
Yeah, we've seen the Bewitched movie.
gosh.
We're there.
Will Ferrell is a beloved American treasure.
I think if him and Andy Samberg were in the same room, the world would stop. I think everyone would die. It'd be
Scares me a
horrible.
little, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thoroughly impressed and love all of the sounds that I've just heard and want to hear more. So,
Yay.
so obviously there's a learning curve, and people who want to
Definitely.
get into this need to research it more and obviously get hands on and tweak knobs and
Yeah, put in the hours.
yeah, it doesn't come overnight. But I think, despite the fact we've kind of jumped around a bit, I think we've painted a picture that shows, you can get into it at a relatively cheap or reasonable level. There's things online training wise that are available to you that
Definitely.
you just go on YouTube and search. There's going to be a million different people that tell you how to do it a million different ways. And then, and you just start doing it and putting the music out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And I think it needs to be stated, obviously this isn't for everyone in every church,
Right.
everywhere. This
Totally.
isn't even something that we really get into in our weekend services. There are obviously songs that we do that are heavily track driven and
Right.
those songs exist, but those are mostly our
Right.
fast stuff. We trend to be trackless in
Okay.
most of our slow stuff. And that is mostly a system thing that we gotta figure out that I have ways around.
Right. He's working on it already.
I have a solution.
Nice.
It requires that much more effort.
Sometimes that's too much effort.
So a little bit earlier, you had kind of made a reference to, and then we didn't go to it, but just the way that this stuff kind of has a relationship with guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's like, yes, I have that pulled up. Hang on, let me show you.
actually, so if we go back to the where are you?
Because I think it went to vocoder right after that.
Yeah, we did. It went straight to vocoder. So we have what is labeled as D74 HU808.
Oh, I got 808 in there. I'm waiting for that.
Well,
That- you actually-
it's just it's
okay.
like drum machine
Oh, okay.
808 samples.
Yeah.
Is how it starts, or kind of.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
definitely an 808.
Yeah, I was very impressed with myself. Anyway, so you have the. That could easily be doubled or with a guitar or
Right.
be doubling a guitar, because that's sort of, at least presently, the direction that, or one of the directions, I can't say the direction, there's a few, there's varying directions that church music has gone, which I
Right.
think is good. I don't think cool music and the centrality of Christ are at odds with one another. So
Right. They don't have to be.
they don't have to be. But
One
for some
created the
reason,
other.
Christian internet land, they do. I don't understand. We don't have to talk about Christian internet. We're all in good moods. There's no reason
We've
to
all
ruin
seen
that
it
for each other.
We've all seen that underbelly.
But yeah, so that can easily, or just be a standalone guitar part.
You can port it to guitar.
I can say words good. I talk goodly.
I grammar
I
well.
have two skills: music and discourse.
Yeah,
One is not shining right now.
So, I guess take us to the church part, because you're right. I think we kind of glossed over that, and I'm glad you brought it up, which was
You're welcome.
podcast saved. Is that
I was like, we're gonna get to church
we
any
will,
day now.
We'll get to Jesus some point, but this doesn't make up the bulk of what you guys do, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad actually, because I think that there's been a couple of albums that came out recently that were really, really 80s synth pop.
So
And it's cool, but I was going to internet land. I have a point to this. So going to the crazed internet land, it's okay that someone leads that charge, but there's so many people in the army that follow that I think that church music as a whole suffers. That was my point. It wasn't that it happens. It should happen. It's great, but and I don't want to see church music go It's always going to. I don't know why I'm even talking about it, but it always follows one huge
Are
trend
you talking
after
about the
another.
backlash of like, oh, we can't play all this music from their new album that just dropped in our church and it doesn't work? And it's like, well, why do you have to play everything from that church's new album?
Well,
And the other thing, I'll say a meaner thing. If you can't,
please
like,
do.
if you are unable to synthesize an alternate arrangement,
Right.
that is your fault,
Right,
not their fault.
Right.
Like, they don't, like, Hillsong, Tomlin, Hooten, whoever your
Right.
people are not obligated to write the songs that your church sings.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
That's
That's that church DNA thing we talked about quite a bit, which is I'm a firm believer that a church should define its own music, to be completely honest. Like I would like to see more churches. And I know that not everyone's a songwriter. That's fine. But
Right.
I do think, though, that most churches can probably have, or I should say, most churches have a DNA that they can kind of stick to and work with and maybe even start writing their own music. But I digress. That's a whole different thing.
I agree with you.
There's too much copying out there, and it bothers me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've even seen churches that have come from a more traditional background, and they're trying to force their congregation just to simply sing Chris Tomlin songs.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
still trying to get their church
Yeah.
into the 90s, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't work at that church. And I'd be like, I'm a voter for just keep your church traditional, because it was doing a good
Are you
thing for
worshiping
your
Jesus?
congregation. Yeah, it was actually working. There was nothing broken there, and it's not Tomlin's not working in your church.
Right.
So how about
It's not like Jesus doesn't show up because you're on the wrong musical style.
No, that's not a thing.
It should. Oh,
Jesus doesn't show up because you're prideful and arrogant and do nothing in your city. But
but please tell us how it really is. That's true. It's totally true. Anyway.
I don't like if you're just trying to get your church into the 90s for the sake of getting them into the
Right.
90s, and your congregation is entirely made up of like plus 50s whoever's, that there's no you have no benefit. There's no benefit to that.
Not at all.
I mean, there's the benefit of getting people out of the space where they are comfortable and into a place where they are uncomfortable and worship the Lord anyway, which is maybe a thing that we could use as the American church. But
I would applaud a church that could do those things. If a church could pull that off successfully, then I'd be like, dude, but that just doesn't happen.
like if people, okay, so here's the thing. Here's my thing.
Here's
one of my things.
now
If people
this
are
is the
not
Academy
willing-
Worship Podcast now.
Yeah.
So if people are not willing to sing a song
Right.
in the safety of a church anywhere
Right.
in the United States of America,
Right.
how in the world can you be expected to sacrifice any part of your life?
That's
for
true. Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
That's
The more-
like if you're not willing to sing a song that you don't particularly enjoy
Right.
because it involves drums or
Yeah. Like that kind of
talks about
reflects
kisses or whatever,
that are sloppy, mind you.
says hell.
Oh,
Yes, but the song's in Mixolydian.
oh no, don't. It's not G Mixolydian.
It's
That's
not-
not a key.
It's not in a singable key. Shut up.
Mixolydian is not a key. Anyway,
Can we talk about the word singable for a second?
yes. So, well, you've probably heard on the podcast because you've been waiting a year to be on it. You've probably
We're
heard
going
us-
to recap all of them right now.
But, oh my God, why'd you have to bring up all this stuff? Now it's bubbling up in me. Now I have to talk about this
We
stuff.
We did the Synthland.
Yeah.
We talked about guitar, kind of.
Kind of. Now we're just on like, I don't know, bad
Now we've
theology.
taken
I
the
don't know.
shackles off. Go.
We're taking the shackles off our feet so we can dance.
So yes, I have a lot of gripes about, and I'm going to put this in air quotes.
Those totally work in audio land.
Yes, you can all see me. Carlos can witness. I'm air quoting.
What noise do they make?
Just modern Christianity is so hung up. Like you said it great, Carlos. I think it's so hung up on the shallow end of the kiddie pool stuff.
It's hung up on methodology and philosophy rather than Christ.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like people go, I don't agree with this method in philosophy, and then they stop there.
Right.
It's like doesn't
Your walk with Christ must
not
be really,
how-
really good. I mean,
I don't agree. Like they wouldn't. Like if they saw Christ, they'd probably avoid him.
right. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm sure all of us probably would have an issue with some of the stuff Christ would say to us. And
Right.
I don't want to think about that. I reject that methodology.
I reject it.
No, I'm kidding.
I reject your reality and substitute it with my
There
own.
you
Yes.
go. There it is. Yes, I agree with you 100%, and I think that one of the reasons we have a lot of shallow churches out there, or at least I don't even know how to describe it. They're uninviting to the unsaved because we can't even get our own stuff together.
Right.
What would be attractive about Christ to other people in that? And it just
Nothing.
it bothers me to no end. That's kind of
Like, obviously, the church is going to be messed up because it's full of people. Like,
and we're sort of
people-
sinners and stuff.
Like, the thing about... So, this actually leads me to to one of my other things is about the, like, over-romanticizing of the early church.
Sure. Okay.
As, well, we treat the early church as though it was some, like, bastion of Christian utopia.
Right,
and
right.
it wasn't.
No.
Like, the early church fathers were kind of racist.
Oh, sure.
At least. Kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of recovering, maybe.
Right.
You have people
After the
like 5
fact.
chapters into Acts lying about the percentage of money that they will be giving to the church from the profits they made from the sale of their own home.
Right.
You have like Hellenist widows not getting fed. Why they're not getting fed is not ever stated. Could just be because they were overlooked, because accidentally like just fell through the cracks. Could have been a purposeful thing like, nah, dog. Like,
Right.
I don't.
Which doesn't happen now.
No,
I
it never
might remind
happens.
you that
There's no marginalized people groups that are
Nope.
just overlooked entirely, and not everybody can care about everything. But anyway,
yes,
synths.
all of
Well, that's all I had to say. This little party is cool. this little synthy here is great.
that. My whole worldview has just been destroyed because in the middle of that conversation, that sound just happened. Like I don't even think I can carry on. That's so shattering. That was just that wasn't fair. Because that was like Pee Wee Herman showing up at the Republican debate just now. Like that was just. It was
Trump
so.
enough?
It was like jarring and brought back my childhood, and yet I know it's just. I'll take a minute for myself. Anyway, that's good stuff, and that was.
I'm sorry I got us off
No, I in fact, the discussions that we have on this are for me the most enjoyable are the ones where we start talking about the real crap because, yeah, I mean synths are
So
great,
real.
guitars are great, but what's
You
the
don't.
point?
You don't need them.
No, not at all.
That's another thing that I think could be stated. Like,
Yep.
like people worry about losing their drummer all the time. You don't need a drummer. That's not
true.
a thing that you need.
But worship
You're just
cannot
trying-
happen without a drummer.
That is technically true, but
Yeah, we do tend to get caught up in our system and what
Right.
is just always accepted as this is the way to do it. And
Yeah.
there needs to be more of those times that we just completely throw out the plan
Yeah.
and just go with whatever's happening and just be like, oh, we don't have a bass player today, or
Yeah.
we don't have a drummer today, or we don't have this. Okay, so we're going to turn it into something different. And usually when you go with it, amazing things happen and you're like, oh, well, okay, like 90 people got saved and
Yeah. Well, like the worship night that we had just recently. I mean, that didn't go according to plan, but the plan being that we had another person scheduled and they didn't show up, and it was weird.
Paul
We
at all.
still worshipped Jesus. It was
yeah.
crazy.
What?
And- yeah, I know.
we didn't call it off.
I know. Sorry, it's canceled.
but you didn't have the synth.
It's true.
How?
That's true.
How
and,
does?
and moving forward, I don't think I'm going to have any more worship nights until that is going on more
Yeah,
so in the
Holy
background.
Spirit showed up and he's like, you don't have that, I'm out.
The Holy
We-
Spirit lives in my laptop.
We
yes.
even did. I'm going to say this because it's so antithetical to use. Yeah, to everything that people believe. We used a track with no drummer.
Yeah.
And what did we do? Oh, sing out.
Sing
we did
out.
sing out, and we used the track with acoustic, electric, and bass.
Fretless bass.
It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so. Yeah, it did. Yep. We had the whole
the
thing.
full track, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But just no drums.
Yeah.
And I was, to be completely honest, I was like, I don't know, man. This might be a little weird. And it wasn't. It was super
Breaking
fun.
all the
It sounded
rules.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's what okay, so that actually brings us to another back
Do it.
around to
Are you
80s
gonna scold me?
synth. No.
Okay.
Maybe.
I was kind
To
of
like 80s synth adjacent worship music.
Right.
Is like somebody has to do that to go, hey guys, these rules that we've put on this,
Right.
they're not real.
That's right.
They're just arbitrary reactionary things.
This
Or
cage
like,
doesn't exist, guys.
or like just they're things that carried over from the previous system of where
Right.
acoustic guitar ruled the land. And
Right. Well, yeah, if
I
you
don't
hold
wanna
too
talk about it.
rigidly to your rules, then there is no forward movement in music at all.
no, the moment you make anything sacred, you like relinquish the ability to improve anything. I said that on the internet before this, but
I
I'm
saw that
really
on the
glad I
internet
got to
before
use this there.
I saw it on your white text, cool quote of the whatever.
I do more of those than anything else.
I love them. They're so
I have
funny.
a lot of time in my own head to think about stuff or think about other things that other people said.
That's
Your head seems like a wonderfully scary place to me.
your
love
head
it.
is basically the movie Beetlejuice, I think.
A girl that I know said that she imagines my brain as just Google Chrome with 11 tabs open. And all of them have audio playing.
That's awesome. That
Just everything all the time.
I like. Is this girl your wife?
No. I talk to women that aren't my wife.
No, I'm just
Not without the presence of my wife, though. That's not true.
well said, sir.
But yeah, I think somebody. So there are people that go, "Hey, this is allowed
Right.
because we've
socially
decided
accessible.
it is."
Right.
Like we decided it is, and thus it's not hindering. I guarantee you, it's not going to hinder anybody from anything except stodgy people
Right.
who are set in their ways and think that things have to be a certain way, and I don't think they need to. As I
Right.
said before, cool music and the centrality of Christ are not inherently at odds with one another.
That's right. They're not mutually exclusive. at
People
all.
can't see it, but I'm pounding my fists together.
I hear it. It sounds
For
has a nice
emphasis.
thud. Yeah, that's a nice thud to it. No, I think that's 100% right, and I don't think that on the other side of that scale, coin, sure, is that not cool music is also not like mutually exclusive from the worship scene. Like,
Oh no, it is.
but see,
We are
like,
the body. We have the mind of God. I'm not even one of those people. I don't think that. That's not a thing that I think. Like, I don't think that because Christians are Christians that we should inherently have the best music around. That's not a thing. I think that there are talented people on a spectrum of talent
right,
within Christian spheres that make music,
sure,
and the music that comes from them is the music that comes from them.
right. Well, no, music
yes,
has
but-
to be Christian or not. It's the music itself.
But like a dude strumming an acoustic guitar is equally valid.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, what you were probably going to get
No,
to
yeah,
if I had
totally.
let you.
If you didn't interrupt so rudely.
I'm sorry, I'm an interrupt. I get steamrolled so much in my house. And so every time I visit my in-laws, it's just
me
people
too.
talking over me. So,
I hear you. That's awesome, and not awesome at the
it's
same
not a
time.
malicious thing. They're just
Just is.
loud.
Just is.
They're just louder than me.
But like, for instance, I was
ya.
seeing there was I want to say it was an Instagram post from somebody at your church, and it was your pastor leading worship, and
Oh yeah.
recently, right? And on the screen behind him was a song I haven't seen in like 8,000 years. I was like, oh,
he loves pulling
always
those out.
busts out the oldies.
yeah, and I was like,
Every time.
whoa, that's awesome. And I know he's a phenomenal musician, so I'm like, it wasn't because he was falling back on like, I can't perform new songs.
Right.
I'm like, it's because it's as relevant, at least as far as our relationship to Christ goes. Maybe not in timeline, but it's as relevant to worship as anything that's modern. And I think there's a mentality out there in worshipdom. I don't know what you want to call it. that you can't do that. Like it's you got to push the envelope and always have new songs and always the whatever's happening out there. And while I appreciate that, like you said, freshness and stuff isn't against what we're doing and the centrality of Christ, it's definitely not the only thing that you have to be doing. And I don't know. I just see it everywhere. People kind of on that train, and I'm like, guys, you don't look at the CCLI. I was blown away. I looked at the CCLI, right? The top like 25 songs, and a huge chunk of them are stuff from like 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, or even before that. And
I'm going to say that is valid. I will also say that CCLI is just tracking the songs that get
for
used.
Sure. For sure. But see, that's what I mean,
But
though.
no, but so those songs, so In Christ Alone 10,000
He
Reasons,
pulled it up
How
already.
Great Is Our God, Shout to the Lord.
Right.
4.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Exactly.
Okay, how is everyone in the world not as tired of that song as I am?
Oh,
But
wait. This is the UK chart. Hold on.
No, but I think that one's on the something similar to that
Top
is on
songs.
ours.
Hold on. Wait.
Couple
That's
of-
not to
This
say
is
that it's
Amazing
not
Grace,
valid
10,000
still,
Reasons,
but oh my
Holy
gosh.
Spirit, Lord, I Need You, Cornerstone, How Great Is Our God,
that
Our
one.
God, In Christ Alone. How Great Is Our God or Our God?
How great is our God?
How Great Is Our God has
Yeah.
been on the top of this chart
Yeah.
like 14 years running.
Yeah. And Cornerstone, that's
you
a
ever-
while.
Yeah,
you
that
ever
was
been in a
not
big
new.
room of people that don't speak English
Right.
singing that song?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that right there, I think, is the point. Really, it's not. I mean, it's all well and good to play the newest thing from.
It's not a
insert
time thing.
church
Just
here.
some songs just transcend time. They're just,
And
they work.
hats off to Chris Tomlin because
Yeah.
dang, who can write a song that lasts well?
In the words of Jeremy Riddle, you can make fun of how great is our God all you want, but if like basically what I just said, a bunch of people
Right.
in the Philippines that don't speak English
Right.
at all singing their hearts out to a 14-year-old song, if that doesn't do something to your heart, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You may want to talk to them about how you can get saved.
Yeah, they may have
I'll be
some
honest,
points.
my wife doesn't like that song, but that's just for like the melody and the way that the song is
Right.
arranged and structured, which you can not be you can not be a fan of
Yeah.
certain things.
It
and
doesn't make it
still,
any less
like-
valid. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I would say you can even go so far as to condemn things, maybe, if you wanted to. But like, yeah,
It strikes me how similar a lot of the things we're talking about and that we ourselves in this worshipdom do are worshipdom. Did I just create a word? I hope I
yeah.
did. You heard it here. Tweet it out, folks. Anyway,
worship.
tag it.
Hashtag worshipdom.
I lost my train of thought. I was so impressed with the word
Funny
I just
how
made up.
similar things that
Yes,
we do.
thank you. Are to the Pharisees because Pharisees.
I say we bring the word back. Just start calling people Pharisees in church.
Pharisees.
Yeah, but I'm looking at myself in that description, going, "Gosh, there are things that I do regularly that." If I looked at them from the other side of things, go like, geez, that's just what the Pharisees were doing. They were like,
Right.
that's not valid to God. And I'm like, crap.
Right. It's in psychological terms. It's splitting. It's defining in groups and out groups and
Right.
like
When they don't exist.
These are the good people. These are the bad people. Or these are the saved people. These are the not really saved people. These people are in it for Jesus. These people are just like in
Right.
it for like money and whatever.
Right. And I
We're saying this
weird.
is a bad thing?
splitting people into groups is a
Yes.
bad thing.
Oh,
It's bad.
okay. Okay.
Yes.
I'm on board. Yes.
I was kind of worried
Lauren,
we were
you've
going
been
to go
awful
with
quiet this episode.
that. But it all comes down to one single sound that I think if every church had. There it is.
That was nice.
It's just
It's pleasing. Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
really any song that has chord progressions that start on 4 instead of 1.
Agreed.
Or really any other.
Agreed.
So can you hook me up to where
Stand to agree.
my pedal board
Yes.
has something that when I play my bass,
Right.
it cues your bass sounds from that?
They have pedals that do that, It's called a bass synth pedal.
Well, yeah, but no, I want his pedals.
Oh, okay.
Or his sounds.
His sounds. Let's
Just
say.
based on what I pluck.
just
That,
want-
that would be great.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
to go right along with me.
They have that.
This is a thing?
This is a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I thought you were kidding. I'm like, no, they have that. It's literally a pedal that is a synth pedal, and you plug into it. It uses your analog signal, and you can mix in how much synth you want, and
It's
it just
pretty great.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I've seen them. I've just
It's
never
like
tried
that.
them out.
Yeah,
So,
it's like those electro-harmonics things
Yeah.
for the guitar, but for bass.
yeah.
There's tambourine in this song.
What?
I think there needs to
Dude,
be more
do you know how
tambourine and
mu-
more
no,
shaker. In
Okay,
every
so
song
here's the
ever.
thing.
As long
There's
as a person
tons
isn't
of
playing it, it's fine.
tambourine and shakers everywhere
Oh, I know.
in all kinds of
It
music.
has to be.
If
In
you-
fact, most of the subdivision stuff you hear is coming from that stuff.
Well, yeah, like I said, they're
love
great
it.
until a person actually plays them.
That's true.
It's true.
Unless they're
Or
samples.
20 people in your congregation are trying to play them.
Wow.
It has happened. However, I will say the people that were playing it could play it in time, but it was so loud.
Loud.
Yeah.
But I
'Cause
was
they are loud.
They're
Tambourines
totally
are loud.
and it was.
Like
but
a room
I
of
tell
50
people,
It's like a couple dozen tiny cymbals.
oh yeah, and they're hitting it on some piece of wood on something. But that happened. But I was so grateful. We had a room mic, but I could mute. We had in ears.
Yeah.
And people were like, "How did that not throw you off?" I'm like, "This is why I have these."
Yeah.
So when you're clapping, No,
You know?
I'm kidding.
No,
We love
but
you,
not.
but not. Yeah, not really. It is kind of really there.
Yeah.
We have droned on for over an hour, so
all right.
Boom.
I think that's awesome.
But it's time to go to bed.
I think this is going to be our longest podcast ever, and I like that. Well, we have had an awesome time. At least I have. I'm speaking for everyone in here.
I had a great time.
Had a good time.
Apparently didn't say enough, but I
Carlos,
had a great
I had
time.
a wonderful time.
Okay, good. You're the one that I was really worried about. But yeah, this has been the Academy of Worship podcast. I believe that we are in the month of April at this point. That's when it should be out. I am Chris Davis.
I am Lauren Levifster.
I am a Carlos.
We had an awesome time. Join us again next month when we talk about something really relevant and something. I don't know. That's my outro. It's pretty good, yeah? Bye, guys.